Hi guys. Remember whenever a couple weeks ago, whenever I did some lessons on shapes when we started that new topic? I wanted to start today and do some more for you. But today I'm going to talk about telling time. I wanted to give you Mrs. Wansel's telling time tips. And these would be things that I would have normally shared in class, some little tips on some quick, easy ways of remembering how to tell time. So I actually brought home my big Judy clock here, but it's really big. So I also grabbed some shorter ones to show you too. So I wanted to show you about some ways of telling time. Um, I know that you've watched a video this week on the parts of a clock and that talked about the hour hand and it talked about the minute hand and the numbers. And on these clocks, I really like these clocks because they kind of do a color thing that matches. The red hour hand points to the numbers on the inside of the clock, and that tells the hours, like if it's 9 o'clock or 3 o'clock if it was pointed over here. And the minute hand is blue and it's pointing to the outside ring of numbers. And when we have clocks, we count by fives when we go to every number. We go to the one, it's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. If you look real close on mine, you can actually see those little numbers on the side. And these clocks are great because that goes together. It's color coded. But I wanted to talk about some ways to remember how, when looking at an analog clock, which is what a round clock like this is, to tell time, some ways to remember which ones to do first. So I start with my hour hand, which is my red one, and it points to the inside. And right now I have it pointed to the 9. So I would say this is 9. And whenever my big hand is pointed at the 12, I don't say 9:12. And I don't say 9:60, even though there's 60 minutes in an hour. I say it's 9 o'clock. And one way that I like to remember to say o'clock is you say O, and that's O is round. And clock, these kind of clocks are round. So o'clock, 0, 0. So if I was writing it out, I'm going to share my whiteboard here with you. So watch, if I typed 9, and then I have the dot dot, so that means 9, that's my hour hand right over here, 9, and I say, oh, there's 1, clock, 9 o'clock. Now, sometimes people ask, well, Mrs. Wansel, they look at this top one first, or they, instead of looking at the hour hand, they get the hour hand and the minute hand confused, and it's really easy to do. But here's 2 ways that I'm going to share with you of how I remember which hand to look at first. So I always look at the hour hand, and if I look at the hour hand, watch when I type the word hour. It has 4 letters in it, H-O-U-R. And that's my little red one. My other one is called my minute hand. And look at minute, M-I-N-U-T-E. It's longer. The number of letters is longer, just like shorthand, longhand. So watch, if I take and draw a line under each one, look at my line. 4 letters, that's the shorthand, that's the hour hand. And if I draw underneath the word minute, look how much longer that is. Longer hand. Shorthand, long hand. Isn't that cool? That's just an easy way. Then we always start with the short one. If I put them in order, I start with my shorthand, which is my hour. And I always just say the inside number that it's pointed to. And then I go to my minute hand, which is longer. When it's pointed at the 12, I say, oh, clock. So now watch, if I move my hour hand, now it is pointed at the 5. So I would say 5 o'clock, 5 o'clock. Now, another way to remember which hand to do it is let's walking down the alphabet. If we go walking down the alphabet and look at alphabetical order, which one of these words is going to come first? Hour or minute? You're right. It's going to be hour because H comes before M in the alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. So only the eighth letter. H, I, J, K, L, M. So H comes before M. So we always do the hour hand before we do the minute hand. So I hope that helps you to understand a little bit on telling time. We're going to talk next week about telling time to the half hour, and that's when the big hand is pointed at the 6 and the little hand moves in between. So we would say, oh, I moved it the wrong way. Sorry, guys. So we would say 5 because it's still not to the 6 yet. It's still the 5 hour. And we look at that, how it points right to that 30 to give us 5:30. But for this week, all you need to know, 5 o'clock, 5 o'clock. If I point it 10 hour first, o'clock. And you know what? Whenever it's pointed at both of them up at the top, that's 12 o'clock. So I hope you like that. I hope that gives you a little bit of tips on how to tell time to the hour. And I will see you guys soon. And I hope that helps. Bye, guys. Oh, and you know what? I'm going to send a little bonus because I started this video and Bailey kind of interrupted it. So I'm going to send that with it, a separate one, so you guys can see it kind of like as my funny, like a bloopers that I did with Bailey. So bye, guys.